If you give fish to a person, you feed that person for a single day. If you make him learn to catch a fish, you give him a lifelong livelihood.
How has remote and hybrid work changed how we collaborate in accounting?
People who used to take the work from home, they were seen as, oh my, he does not come to office, he works from
Doesn't
home.
take it seriously.
Seriously, isn't it? If we are not somewhere taking the advantage of resources globally, then we are not using our technology in the best possible way.
ESG reporting is becoming mandatory. Are accountants ready for this shift?
The ARCs is there in the near future. Within couple of years, the disclosures related to ESG is going to increase.
How involved should accountants be in data security decisions?
So when somebody is dealing with financial data and that to leveraging technology, you have to learn how to safeguard the misuse of the technology also.
So in the previous episode of Beyond the Book, we had discussed various insights regarding the changing role of accountants in today's day and age with the emerging technologies. Now, tuning back on that same topic with our same guest, Mr. Amitabh Ghosh, we'll be continuing with part 2. How does proactive accounting change conversations between finance teams and leadership?
I think the answer is hidden in the word itself. Proactive. When we hear this word, we think of that somebody is going to move from that reactive status to a forward-looking approach. So how is that the accounting team can become proactive? It's because, again, the same concepts. Like now, when they're embracing technology, they are trying to involve them beyond the normal financial reporting responsibilities, might be assisting in providing that vital information which helps the senior management to strategically think. So proactive accounting is helping somewhere the accountants to go one step ahead, to become or enter into a strategic partnership with the leadership. It is redefining, I think, the strategy process where the accountants or basically people who are responsible for taking care of the financials of the company, they are stepping into that level where they can support a strategic decision making, gaining more trust, more growth for the company. Because when the leadership gets people from the accounting team understanding what strategy the business can be setting. So it's a win-win situation, right? Yeah. So it's no longer an isolated team. It's like a synergic effect that comes together with the strategic leadership as well as the finance and accounting team.
Right. Why is talent retention such a major issue in accounting today?
So I think, interestingly, when we think of talent, it is about getting the right person, right? So the challenge is not around getting the talent. It is about getting the right talent. Right. Why? Because there is a lot of volatility going around because of so much technological changes, regulatory changes, and everyone is not able to keep pace with that. So people who are able to adapt it quickly, they are becoming highly valuable. So if we see the accounting profession, how it has evolved globally, and we all heard about COVID times. Yeah. And after COVID, there was a lot of reporting from US that people, the young students are no longer interested in doing accounting profession work because it is stretching them far. The old CPAs are retiring, right? So the challenge is that there is somewhere a space created, but is there the right resource there to somewhere be placed in that vacant position? That's the challenge. So interestingly, I read a book where it said, when we hire people, think the company is a bus. Think the company is a bus and you take the right person and somewhere you put him in the bus. So you have taken the right person at the right bus. But the journey does not end there. Why? Because you have to ensure that you put the right person in the right bus and in the right seat. Then only the things go well. So the challenge here is in retention is perhaps because one of the things is that people are getting burned out, might be in accounting profession where they might think after a certain number of years that it's better to step down and see something where I can do personally. And that is why startups are gaining so much importance. Today, the younger generation wants to do something of their own. And why not? They have an entrepreneurship mindset. So that is the reason perhaps this gap between the demand and the supply is created. Resources are there, I'm saying, which is my understanding. But am I getting the right resource to fetch my requirements? That is the most important thing. Right.
How has remote and hybrid work changed how we collaborate in accounting?
So I think if we just go back 10, 15 years before the COVID era, people who used to take the work from home, they were seen as, oh my, he does not come to office, he works from
Doesn't
home.
take it seriously.
Seriously, isn't it? But do you feel that in today's world it will function? Never.
No.
Because it is the necessity that a business, if it wants to grow, it has to be flexible. And flexible in what sense? If they want to have resources from all across the globe, where the concept of remote resourcing comes into picture. If they have to take the advantage of cost, they have to open the doors for people all across the globe. And everyone may not be able to come down to office. That's fine. So what comes here more important is the organization being able to trust that employee? And in turn, is they may able to make them accountable for the roles and responsibilities. It works both ways.
Yes.
Think of a situation, working mothers. In case if everything is made to be physically present and work, we will not have a diversified workforce. We speak a lot around diversity, about inclusion. This is a real examples where we can adapt those. So if we are somewhere embracing the working mothers, they may need some flexibility, but at the end of the day, if the job is getting done, why not? So definitely the future lies in remote and hybrid working. But at the same time, I'll say that physical presence is also important, because somewhere the interaction that happens with your team members, the learning that happens on the job, that requires your presence somewhere in the office for some time also. But it should not be like the two poles. One says that only it is physical office that can happen, and another says no, only remote and hybrid working is only possible.
Can't be black
You have
and
to have
white.
balance.
Yeah, balance.
But the future definitely where remote and hybrid working will play a significant role, and many of the big fours and even the global MNCs, they have a policy where they have a 3 days working, 2 days working from office, and the rest they allow the people to work from home. I think that's the perspective.
And again, coming back to finding the right people, what if we find the right person across the world?
Absolutely. And so it's not going to be something that you have to be physically present.
Yes.
You have to give up that idea. You have to remain flexible. Yet, if I'm taking a resource, I have to give him or her that flexibility. I will bind him or her with some responsibilities. If they are not performing, that's a different ball game. But if I make a fixation in my mind on the very onset that I have to keep an eye control on them to be physically present in office, that would not be somewhere, I think,
That's not
go
sustainable.
well in today's generation and how things are evolving. Because if you see technology also, then if we are not somewhere taking the advantage of resources globally, then we are not using our technology in the best possible way, because the workflows that have come up, that the different ways of tools that have come up, why they have come up? They have come up because to enable us to go global, to remove the time zone differences. I don't need someone to be awake at the time when the US people are working. But at least I need to ensure that the US people, when they're rising, I have done my work and sent my work in their email. So they are not under apprehension. Right. So I think that's the context. Yep.
Right. ESG reporting is becoming mandatory. Are accountants ready for this shift?
See, ESG is something a very new emerging area. Definitely from a public company standpoint, the environmental, social and governance responsibilities and disclosures has already become mandatory. And the ask is there in the near future, within couple of years, the disclosures related to ESG is going to increase. But what somewhere comes up as a challenge is that, see, mostly accountants have been people who have been dealing with financial data, monetary transactions. But ESG is something which comes from an area of non-financial data. It evaluates an organization on qualitative parameters like carbon emissions, corporate social responsibility, supply chain. What is the diversity and inclusion? The question is that, is everyone ready for it? So the answer perhaps is not fully, but it has to be, because it is an area which is going to gain tremendous importance, because in present day world, if you see, the regulators, instead of, they definitely see about your financial strength and all those perspectives, but they also see that how you are contributing to the society.
Right.
And more importantly, investors also see that, are you somewhere taking care of the society? Are you contributing to the society? So if these things are coming in mind of the people, so ESG reporting will emerge to be something mandatorily for everyone in the future.
Corporate social responsibility is very important at this
Right,
time.
absolutely.
How different is ESG reporting from traditional finance reporting?
Right. So I think drawing from the context of, as I said, that when we talk about the accountants, it's more amount that they are somewhere prepared to deal with the balance sheet, income statement, and the perspectives that follow. So always thinking about the monetary transactions and the financial recordings, right? So it's about seeing that whether in a financial reporting standpoint, whether my financials are actually being drawn as per some applicable financial reporting framework, like maybe a IFRS or a GAAP, right? And at the same time, am I meeting my expectations of my stakeholders? Now, coming into ESG, as I said, that it is something more dealing with non-financial data, like aspects of like CSR, diversity inclusion, carbon emissions, supply chain. So these are all like the qualitative data. So from a perspective of ESG, I'll say is that the evaluation standpoints in a manner that how you are thinking for the society where you are operating, not only just thinking for giving a greater return to your shareholders. That is from a financial reporting standpoint. But ESG, definitely you have to take care of the society, of the environment in which you are operating. Are you somewhere creating climate challenges, or you are taking care of the climate factors where you are somewhere operating? So those disclosures are also becoming seriously relevant now, and that's the basic difference between the two. That's my understanding.
With rising cybersecurity risks, how involved should accountants be in data security decisions?
I think this is absolutely something the accountants and the people who are dealing with financial data has to take serious notice of. Why I say this is that if you see newspapers nowadays, we hear of digital arrest so much, right? There's so much awareness being spread, but still these things happen. So when somebody is dealing with financial data, and that to leveraging technology, you have to learn how to safeguard the misuse of the technology also. So you have to be aware that how your financial data may be subjected to theft, subjected to manipulation. And that is why blockchain is also gaining so much importance now, because it provides a secure environment for your data. So similarly, the accountants cannot work in isolation with the IT or security team. There has to be a marriage between the two. Why? Because if you are not aware of your data security policies, if your data security policies is not communicated to the people in your organization, if they are not aware that somewhere if they are working with client data, they have to ensure that that is not being spoken out in public, because that has to have the client confidentiality. Are you working where there is a proper protection like a firewall? Are you in the official network of a VPN? Are your employees aware of the cybersecurity policies across globally that is applicable, like the GDPR or the SEC cybersecurity? These are the things the team of accountants now has to gradually learn, because you cannot say that if something has happened in terms of might be some documents has got stolen or theft has happened of data, IT team is responsible only, because people dealing with that data, financial data, they have to learn how to safeguard that data. So it is again a teaming up, cross team culture, IT team, financial team work together to protect the data. I think that's cybersecurity somewhere is again framing a very important part of a financial accountant's role.
So strong security systems need to be put into place.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How challenging is it for firms to constantly keep up with these evolving tax and accounting standards?
If you really ask in terms of what is challenging, yes, it's challenging. But with every challenges, there are unexplored opportunities. Just think away from a bit from the profession of financial accountants. Let's see a doctor who has passed in the 80s. If he is not updating himself or herself with the recent technological changes, medicines that are coming up, research that is happening, will you go to a doctor? You'll not go. Why? So why a doctor becomes popular? Because somewhere down the line, he is continuously making that effort to remain updated. Take the same point from a stand of a financial accountants. Yes, there are so much technological changes happening, so much regulatory changes happening. But if you have to stay in the profession, you want to do diversified work, you have to learn to adapt that. But the big question that might be, how can I adapt to that continuous learning? It is very important to somewhere within an organization have some specialized teams. I myself have seen in Price, where I worked for almost 15 years, they used to have a separate team called Center of Excellence. They used to have a separate team of in-house research, learning and development. They were somewhere circulating these updates. And if you see that this is a big organization, they have big bandwidth. Let me share with an experience that I recently gained from the conference, as I was talking about, the CA conference. I met a guy who has a small farm, right? And his niece is in the CA articleship now, and he is his farm. So I said to him that, what your niece does? So he smilingly said that I have given her one responsibility. And what responsibility? Whatever tax updates come, I have said her, you have to post that on WhatsApp for all the employees, others to see. And that is your core responsibility. You see, even being a sole proprietor farm, he's thinking that somebody is there to monitor the changes and percolate that. And interestingly, in our Datta Kundu and Associates also, we have a team which generally tries to do small meetings on weekends or somewhere down on Fridays to somewhere coach the people who are new in this field of accounting to make them informed. And
That's
this is required, because until unless you give the coaching, you'll never able to learn the things in a new way. So it's difficult. Definitely it's difficult, because whenever things change so rapidly, sometimes you feel kya yaar fir aur ek update aa gaya. But somewhere down the line, it's the need of the profession. It's the very essence of the profession, because we are in a esteemed profession. Because people come to us for advice.
Yes.
And if you are giving an advice which is stale, they will not come back to you. Right? So I think that's the perspective.
It is important to be up to date with everything.
Absolutely.
Because it's a very fast-paced industry.
True. Agreed.
Do stricter regulatory standards increase pressure on firms, or do they improve trust?
I think both. But interestingly, I'll take the perspective in a way that, whenever there is some regulations coming up, when you are required to abide to rules and norms, forget about profession. Think of our own personal life. Your dad says that you have to follow this rule. Don't you feel that someone is trying to make you in a prison?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the nature. So naturally, when somewhere regulations come into picture, the implementation, the understanding, it has a cost connotation. It has a knowledge base to be updated. Challenge will be there. But what is the plus point? If you reflect back to history, right, the Enron fraud that happened in US long back, it resulted in coming of SOX controls. It resulted in the PCOB being formed. It resulted in the audit committee to get set in public companies. And thereafter, there was greater transparency, greater trust, greater reliability of financial information. It was difficult. But now people are reaping the benefits. The stakeholders are reaping the benefits. Think of India. The Harshad Mehta scam that resulted in a total reform of our capital market in a lot of ways. It was difficult at that point of time also. But today, people dealing with stock market, people drawing information stock market, they know that there is SEBI, who has a regulator who is giving you the guidelines, right? So definitely it is difficult when it is first coming into picture. But the benefits that we see in the long run, especially for the stakeholders involved, that is immense. And that is why you get that trust, you get the reliability and the confidence of dealing with an unknown entity. Because whenever you are thinking of investing in an organization, you do the research, that's fine. But at the same time, you feel that, can I be somewhere trust this organization?
Right.
And that's the thing. I think there is a independent regulator who is setting those guidelines that the organization has to follow. And that's the crux of it. Difficult, but a lot of benefits in the long run.
It's a difficult necessity.
Right, absolutely.
What mistakes do firms make when they are trying to modernize their accounting function?
So basically, see, generally everyone wants to ride in terms of fast-paced changes. But whenever you try to adapt technology in a very fast manner without somewhere assessing your strengths or weaknesses, that causes more harm than good. If you ask me why, and I'll give an example from my experience also. So I personally feel that before deciding on implementing a new system, be it a ERP system or something, anything that which might be redefining your process, first see that whether you have that skilled manpower in your organization to adapt to that. Are your employees somewhere mentally ready for it? Are they very much resistant? That has to be communicated. What is the cost involved? Will the new system that you are implementing somewhere get soaked with the objectives of the organization? Do you need to have a parallel run for the existing system along with the new system to see that how the two is going? What is the efficiency getting built rather than jumping into immediately implementing something new and then falling down? And I tell you an example from my early days. Like I was involved in an international company which was like involved in ERP implementation. So we were given training in India at Chandigarh, and then we have to go globally around different offices to implement the system. So the first thing that we experienced was the people out who were doing the old system, seeing us, they were just, oh my God, these people have come. Because that's a normal tendency. So
Judgmental.
first, yes, because they felt that their jobs are at somewhere, it's going to be taken away, right? Apprehensive, right? So we had to first explain them that this is something coming up for your advantage. And then we have to sit with them, work with them, do the entire implementation, show them what was happening with the old system, what happens in the new system, give them comfort, give them that after implementation support, then only they got that confidence. But ironically, in this process that I'm talking about, somewhere down in one of the regions, they were not fully ready. So we had to visit the same region about thrice. So can you see the cost connotation, duplication of work?
Right.
So this is the thing I'm talking about. You need to first assess whether I'm ready for it, both technologically and also from manpower.
Right.
That's the most important thing.
How should professionals balance continuous learning with day-to-day work pressures?
This is a question that comes across for most of the young generation people. But I it's my personal belief, don't take learning separate from what you are doing. Now, what does it mean? It means like somewhere down line, you do not need to have a separate dedicated time to get a training to learn. You have to be a continuous learner mindset. So in PwC, there is still a concept of 70-20-10. What is that 70-20-10? It is about coaching. They say that 70% of your learning should come from on the job.
Right.
That is what you are doing, you learning. 20% by network interaction. That is, I talk to you, I talk to another person, you learn from that. 10% is formal training. So if you see 90% of the learning is coming from your good habits.
Right.
And you do not need to dedicate a separate time for that. And I think one of the things that I do personally is that I have a perspective that can I invest 15 minutes every day to learn something new? And just not learning that, try to put it somewhere, the learning convert it into a small write-up. And the next level, if I get an opportunity, I apply that to the practical field.
Yeah.
May not get the possibility every time. But my request is that instead of thinking that हमको कोई training देगा, हमको कोई बोल के देगा, in this world, everybody is running. Nobody has that time to coach, invest on you so much.
Right.
Definitely you'll come across good people who will invest time, but you have to take that urge. So I think personally you have to take the process of learning not as a somewhere compulsion, but something getting inbuilt into your system. So whenever you are executing any work, you are on a move, you are on a go, you can learn by observing also.
Yeah.
So this is the process through which the learning mechanism should evolve within you. It is not about just sitting and thinking that something will happen. I'll be taken to a training room. I'll be and as you said, spoon feeding. Interestingly, in our coaching days, we were taught that if you give fish to a person, you feed that person for a single day. If you make him learn to catch a fish, you give him a lifelong livelihood. Isn't it so?
Yes.
You make him learn to catch a fish. He learns now to catch fish every day.
Yes.
And you give him a fish on a day, only for that day you are meeting his or her hunger. That's the point.
So basically, we need to be more active rather than passive.
Absolutely.
And everything is a learning lesson. Like every single day is a time to learn.
Exactly. And again, I generally read a bit of books, and I came recently, read a very nice book written by a US admiral, right? And he says the name of the book is Make Your Bed. So he says the first thing that you should do when you start the day, complete one task. So what is that task he used to do throughout his life? Make his own bed. Because he says that if I make my bed, even if my day does not go well, I come back to sleep on a bed I have made on my own. That gives me the satisfaction.
Wow.
So that's the way I think learning somewhere shapes up.
Right. Very well said. Looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future of accounting?
I think for me, we are no more boarding accountants.
Yeah.
Typically for years, it has been said people doing accounting, people doing financials are very serious. They are compliance master.
Yeah.
But I now look myself as a diversified, new age strategic accountant who knows AI, who knows the emerging technologies, leverages that with the traditional accounting and gives value addition to the client. And in today's world, AI is like the Brahmastra that somewhere Arjun used to have as a weapon. So that's the thing. I think that excites me, that I see myself as a transformed accountant rather than someone who is just complying or closing down reports after every period and fetching the data for reporting. So that's my perspective.
You have to be fun and dynamic.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Mr. Ghosh, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your very valuable insights.
Thank you, Elina, for being a wonderful host. And it's a privilege and honor to be part of this podcast, and looking forward for more such insightful sessions.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
What today's conversation truly highlights is that the accounting now goes far beyond maintaining records or meeting deadlines. It's about understanding the bigger picture, how numbers reflect business decisions, how compliance supports sustainable growth, and how the right guidance can help businesses remain resilient in an ever-changing environment. For founders, business professionals, owners, and students listening in, these insights aren't just theoretical. They directly influence how confidently you plan, scale, and adapt. That's the core of Datta Kundu and Associates. Beyond books, we partner with businesses at every stages of growth. And that brings us to the end of today's podcast. Thank you for joining us. This is